The NBA is one of the biggest businesses in the world, which means they make a fuck ton of money. And what do businesses that make a lot of money do? They expand. They like to get in touch with as many people as possible in hopes of growing their business, which then equals to more money. The NBA has had 30 teams for nearly 2 decades now, and the possibility of an expansion is on the horizon. The league has had a total of 11 expansion drafts in its history, totaling 22 teams entering the association. On average, there's been an expansion draft every 3.5 years, with the last one happening 19 years ago. It's safe to say that the NBA is due. 19 years ago, the Charlotte Bobcats entered the NBA with the goal of expanding the fan base for the league and win some championships. Woo! Sadly, the Bobcats, who are now the Hornets, are only known for 3 things nowadays: LeBron dropping 61 on them, having the worst win percentage in a season in NBA history, and for surrounding a future superstar with criminals. In order to enter the league, the Bobcats would need to do an expansion draft. The expansion draft allows every team to protect 8 players on their roster, and the remaining unprotected players would be available to Charlotte, and from the pool of players, they would be able to select a minimum of 14 from different NBA teams. And they ended up with this shit. On top of an expansion draft to build their roster, they were given the 4th overall pick in the 2004 draft. The pick was given to them by the NBA, and the reason behind them getting the 4th pick was nothing. They just gave it to them. Literally. They ended up trading their pick to go up to 2nd overall in the draft, where they selected Emeka Okafor. This roster was built to dominate! But let's go back to the present. The NBA is due for an expansion team. So where would the best location be? Would it be A, Seattle, B, Louisville, C, Las Vegas, or D, Pittsburgh? Pause the video, write your answer in the comments, and without further ado, it's Moscow, Russia! All joking aside, it should without a doubt be Las Vegas. They got the money, the fans, the money, the passion, the gambling, and the money. And the money. In 2017, the NHL expanded to Las Vegas, and in its 6 years of existence, the team has broken NHL attendance records while placing 1st in that category this past season, and the team just won its 1st championship in franchise history. The fans are great, and the presentation of the game is even better. Vegas has the NHL, NFL, WNBA, the MLB is on the way, and that would leave one major sports league missing: the NBA. So Adam, get your shit together. Bring a team to Vegas and make some fucking money. Obviously, other spots like a return to Seattle would be cool, or starting from scratch in Louisville or Pittsburgh. But how about a team from Mexico City? Adam Silver has hinted at this possibility because, grow the game globally, blah 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 blah. But in my personal opinion, I'd rather see a team in North America, more specifically, Las Vegas. So, in celebration of absolutely nothing, let's do a mock expansion draft for the 2023 Las Vegas Hookers. In this alternate universe, Vegas will be following the same rules as the 2004 Charlotte Bobcats. Each team can protect 8 players, and Vegas will select a minimum of 14 for their roster. So for you guys to get an idea of what it would look like, let's use the Golden State Warriors. They would protect Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Chris Paul, Kevon Looney, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moses Moody. Vegas would then be able to select from the remaining players, and they will select Gary Payton II to join their squad. Without boring you to death, I'll just go through the rest of the league, create a roster, and I'll get back to you. After wanting to stab my fucking eyes out for the last 2 hours, this is the squad. Vegas was also given the 4th overall pick in the draft, and they chose Amen Thompson, who's basically the star of our team, surrounded with solid role players who can also play at the defensive end. The idea of drafting this type of team is to have some young players and shit, with a mix of vets that'll bring us to the promised land, also known as the bottom of the West. The Las Vegas Hookers would be in the Pacific Division, which means they'd face off against the Kings, Suns, Warriors, Clippers, and Lakers, which is some tough-ass competition for an expansion team with basically no chemistry. However, Vegas decided to trade Buddy Hield in their 1st-round pick in 2024 and 2026 to the Detroit Pistons for Ozar Thompson to pair him up with his brother on Vegas, which now leaves us with this roster. The trade allows us to have the twins on the same team, and that will not only bring much more chemistry to our squad, but it'll also bring excitement for fans to tune in and watch the Las Vegas Hookers. Our team brings young flashiness, jumping out of the gym athleticism, and a core of former champions. We finna win this fucking chip, boy. To estimate what their record would look like, I used the Warriors' schedule from this past year to see how many games our Hookers can win. And here's how it looks. Surprisingly, our boys would have a record of 44-38, good enough for the 5th seed in the West, lining us up with the Phoenix Suns in the first round of the playoffs. Las Vegas gets obliterated by the Suns in 5 games though, and the lack of playoff experience from the stars on the team is noticeable. The first season in team history is deemed a success, as the Hookers have a bright future ahead of them. With the talent that's available across the league today, I don't think that we'll see a historically bad record from the next expansion team, but without a doubt they'd be at the bottom of the standings. I mentioned earlier the Vegas Golden Knights from the NHL and how they're one of the most recent expansion teams in the major sports leagues. And not to put any pressure on an NBA team that may come to Vegas sometime soon, but the Golden Knights not only made the playoffs in their very first season, but they also made it to the finals where they ultimately lost, proving that it's possible to succeed with the right players around each other. Now is the perfect time for the NBA to add an expansion team. The talent in the league has soared in the past few years, and any mix of players thrown onto a squad will get a fair chance to compete at a high level. It's been nearly 2 decades, and a team in Vegas would bring plenty of excitement to the game of basketball. The time is now, Adam. Don't fuck this shit up.